This week in the gaming news we think you should know about, the Steam Machine price is leaked, the Xbox Developer Direct is happening this month, and GTA 6 might not be content complete. This is Active Reload Gaming News. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Father and Son Gaming News Podcast, or Active Reload News, Active Reload Gaming News Podcast. We're still figuring out the name, but I think we're going to stick with the Father and Son Gaming News Podcast. Welcome. This is our first one. We are excited to see everyone here and joining us for the ride. So we're going to be going over the news show. This is a brand new show for us, so we're going to see how the flow goes, see what we're going to do, but we have a whole bunch of different articles for you and so on. As always, my name is Kobe, aka Kobe127. That is Kevin, aka Octane699. It's been a week. There's a lot of things to talk about, but Dad, how you doing?
Not too bad. Pretty excited about some of the news this week. Some disappointing news, but some super exciting news as well.
Yeah, like I said, this has been a very long week. We're only in the second week of January now, and there's already a lot of gaming news that's been breaking, like you said, good and bad, and some indifferent. We also had CES happen, so there is some weird stuff coming out of there with the tech. A lot of it is AI driven, as we all kind of anticipated going into this CES season, but that's all being said. We are heading into the weekend. Do you have any fun gaming plans ahead of you?
Nope. I just need to finish Yote. I was streaming some Yote earlier this week, and still have a little bit to go. But again, my goal is to finish that Yote before Requiem comes out. Little Resident Evil Requiem.
You have over a month, and if you don't finish it in time, you're a slowpoke. So you have a lot of time before Requiem.
That's the old man in me.
Requiem comes out the end of February. I think you'll be good by then. Just give yourself like another 10 hours and you'll probably be by the end. You say, I don't expect you're going to be 100%ing it, right? You just want to,
I only try to 100% my Xbox games. I don't really care about the trophies on PlayStation.
That's fair. We all have our different platforms that we would like to get achievements on and boost the profile and so on. But as always, this is the new Father and Son Gaming News Podcast. You can follow us on all of our socials right here on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Spotify and Blue Sky. We're at Active Reload Gaming. On Twitch and Twitter or X, we're at ActiveRel. That is with an REL, Active Rel Gaming. Follow us on all of our socials. Join us. This episode is going to be uploaded under a new show on Spotify. We're going to have to work on some stuff in the back end, but so on. We do have a very jam-packed show for you with a lot of articles to start going over. As the headline says, the Steam Machine is how much? The Steam Machine price has been leaked. This article comes from Screen Rant and is written by Ewan Moore. The Steam Machine price leak has gamers on edge, is what people are saying. Valve announced the Steam Machine officially last year, positioning it as a powerful PC that you can plug into your TV and run Steam from. It's expected to be 6 times more powerful than the Steam Deck and has a lot of high-end specs. The notable difference between the specs is there's going to be a 512 gigabyte model and a 2 terabyte model as well. However, a Reddit user took to the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit earlier today to share a post from Czech retailer, which appears to have leaked pricing for the Steam Machine. Please be aware, nothing has been officially confirmed yet, so obviously take this news with a pinch of salt, but the retailer could be accidentally leaking something. I think this is an interesting conversation to have because everyone was wrong about what they were predicting for the price. So the listing shows 19,826 ZCK for the 512 gigabyte model and 22,305 CCK for the 2 terabyte model, which in US dollars, that converts to $950 and $1,070 respectively, which is considerably more than previous reports suggested the Steam Machine would cost. In this article, the author also states that Linus Tech Tips previously speculated that the Steam Machine could cost a minimum of $602 to manufacture and could be sold at around $700. So I kind of want to stop there and digest the information. Obviously, we had our own podcast before, kind of breaking down the Steam Machine, and I went on record speculating that it would be like $400 to $500 because I thought it was going to be competing within the console market. But if these alleged pricing leaks are true, how are you feeling about it? Because, the Steam Deck was very competitively priced, and I think a good price model for people to hop in. And I think a lot of people had this idea that the Steam Machine would be a home console, which, as previously with any console that has released, Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series X, S, and PS5, they have not until recently gone up. Like when they first launched, they were not above the $500 price point. Obviously, there's a lot of external factors happening with the Steam Machine and stuff. Obviously, I think the biggest proponent of all of them right now is the AI data centers that are currently eating up a lot of DDR5 RAM and GPUs, and that is taking up a lot of the stock that was going to be used for some of these devices, and this could be the ripple from that. So I want to kind of pass it off to you. How are you feeling about this price?
Well, what's funny is I was going to ask, is that the pre-price before all this RAM went up? And it's actually going to be more than that. But I remember back, you talk about the Linus Tech Tips when he was talking and said to the in the interview that it was going to be $500-$600 priced, and I know that the people from Valve just kind of had that blank, dead shark eyes stare that little bit of hint that it wasn't going to be $500 or $600. I'm surprised. I know Bombay in the chat is saying he thought it was going to be about 1,500. I'm surprised that it's the $1,000 range, because they came in so great with great pricing in the handheld market with the Steam Deck that I thought that it was going to be $600 to $700. But cracking that $1,000 range, I think that's a little salty for some people, especially when it's not going to run everything.
Well, hang on. I want to pass it back off to you now, because, or pass the question to you, because you're saying that the $1,000 price point is a little bit salty. But do you have the same thought process about the Xbox ROG Ally X, the $1,000 handheld? Because you can make the same argument for both machines, but the Steam Machine is more aligned with a console. So how are you feeling between these two devices and the $1,000? Because
I'll tell you the way I look at it. It may be right, it may be wrong, but the way that I look at the ROG Ally X is that, to me, could be used as a PC and a dock, and I can take it with me. So it's two consoles in one, in my opinion.
I mean, so can the Steam Deck.
We're not talking about the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck's not $1,000.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about a fixed machine sitting there at $1,000 that I'm going to hook up to my TV. And again, because it's Steam OS, you really can't. I know you can side load everything so people don't jump on me because I did it with my Steam Deck, but it's only meant to really hold Steam. It can't do your Game Pass. It can't do your Epic. It can't do all that. So again, I think that goes towards the value of my ROG Ally X, because I can do all that. I can do everything with it. I'm not pigeonholed into one. So to me, that always comes into the price.
So I guess now let's just assume that this $1,000 price mark is the real thing, and we don't even know if this $1,000 price mark is with the controller bundled. If this is the controller bundle, we're looking at probably another $100 added on to it to add the Steam controller. Now, I think it puts the market and consumers in kind of an interesting place. What do you think the market is going to, and consumers, how do you think they're going to react to this? Do you think the Steam Machine is going to be a hit like the Steam Deck, or do you think it's going to be a much harder of a sell now?
I think there's two things. One, if it doesn't come bundled with the controller, there's something wrong because you can't plug this, because the idea of this is to plug it into your TV and get the steam away from the computer and away from the computer monitor and onto that. And you can't run, the people that are only, PC players get this. They can't take their keyboard and controller and mouse and bring it into their living room. So it has to come with the
Well,
controller.
no, because you can Bluetooth your Xbox or PlayStation controller. They have that natively built in.
But who, again, if you're looking at a Steam person, the true hardcore Steam person, you're not going to get somebody that's a casual Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation player. You're not going to get them to casually say, "Oh, I'm a casual gamer. Now I'm going to go spend $1,000 on because I want to jump into Steam." It's not going to happen. You're going to have those people that are like you and I, that are Steam players on our PC, that sometimes want to get out of this chair and go sit on the couch with the big screen TV. That's who you're going to get. So you can't assume that everybody has a controller at their hand. But
Well, then I guess my question is then, with this $1,000 price point that this leak is suggesting, who is this device going to be marketed towards at this point? Because if you're saying people like us, right, we already have built PCs who have Steam. And I assume a lot of people who are using Steam at least have a pre-built or a gaming PC of some sort, or the Steam Deck. Now, at this point, who is the Steam machine for? Because if you're not trying to get that casual gaming audience of someone who is more of a PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo person, who is this device being marketed to then?
this is where I believe that the market's wide open because the industry is changing. The industry's changing dramatically. That you don't have, let me take a step back. The argument's always been it's going to be tough to change an Xbox player to a PlayStation, and a PlayStation to a Steam, because we have these libraries that are built. That's always been the argument. Oh, it's going to be tough to move somebody over because they have these digital libraries. So now moving forward, that, let's be realistic, there is no more exclusives other than Nintendo.
Yeah.
But I still believe Nintendo's going to be forced to get into, hey, I got to put my games on PC at some point.
No, Nintendo will never get into that moment because the Switch and the Switch 2 are still selling like crazy, and the Switch is becoming as close to the highest selling console of all time. Nintendo can do whatever Nintendo wants to do.
I still think that it's going to change at some point. I'm not saying this year, next year. It's going to change. They're going to have to go on PC at some point. They're going to see the revenue and what they could be made there, because they're like any other business. They want to get the revenue. But anyway, back to who is this targeted to? I think there's going to be this new level that people are going after with the speculated new Xbox that's going to be more PC driven. That the whole idea is, hey, we want you to load everything on here and play from this. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. And it's really only Valve and Microsoft that are fighting for this. So I don't think that you're going to see the Steam machine sell as big as you think it is. It's going to be less sold than the Steam Deck.
Well, I mean, the Steam Deck kind of popularized a certain kind of market. Obviously, Switch aside, we all know Switch was a handheld, but the handheld PC market, the Steam Deck was it was the pioneer of that kind of thing and really leading the charge forward. Yeah, I don't know with the Steam machine. If it is priced like this, I do think, and I agree, I think it's going to be hard for Valve to try to get people to come to their ecosystem with this. I think it's going to be a much more of a tougher sell. But now the question, as we kind of wrap up this article, is with the Steam machine and the cost, do you think, and just all the factors happening, do you think this is an indicator of what's to come with other consoles on the horizon? Because we all know the PS6 is on the way. We all know the new Xbox is on the way, whatever form these consoles may be. Do you think this is going to be an indicator, or do you think what we're going to start seeing is a lot of these companies are going to start delaying their hardware, and we're going to be placed in this generation for a lot longer than we had anticipated because they know they're not going to earn the bottom dollar from someone, because people are getting, the average consumer will be priced out at these prices, and that's just a fact. With the world going up in price, the average person cannot afford this. So
here's the cop out answer to that. I honestly think that Microsoft / Xbox and PlayStation are going to use this Steam machine as the guinea pig. They're going to see that if it sells at $1,000, they may not delay it. If they see that this has a big hiccup in sales, they may delay it. And here's the reality. This is just, again, my reality. You can blame the pricing on tariffs and RAM and all this stuff, the GPU cost. But the reality is once these companies see that they can get it for $1,000 and RAM and GPU prices and everything goes down, they're not going to lower the price. Because let's be honest, the Xbox very rarely has ever made profit from their hardware. PlayStation, up until most recent, they were breaking even with it, and that's why people were complaining about the PlayStation 5, that the PlayStation 5 prices weren't coming down when they came out with the Pro, and that's because they're finally pricing it to make money off of it. So the bad side to the gamers of the industry is these prices are going to go up and these are going to become the norm. You're never going to see them come back down. Like, just look at Nintendo. The Switch went up to what, $500-600. You're never going to see that come back down, even if the tariffs go away. You're never going to see it come back down to the Switch One-ish prices, because companies are greedy. If they can get them to get the consumer to buy it, they're never going to go back.
I mean, I'm not going to necessarily disagree with you on that. I think, I think that's always been one of the economic arguments with anything, which is when a company sees that things will be bought at the new price that is set, it is very hard for it to come back down. And I think that is just the unfortunate side of everything. Bombay says, I don't see this as a direct head-to-head with other consoles. I think it's more in the PC market, but it could impact consoles a little bit. Steam is always doing niche hardware for what seems like fun projects, then use what they learned from that to build more fun stuff. I slightly agree, but I think it's the way that they came out talking about the Steam machine that really positioned it as kind of trying to go into that console market. Like, I think the wording that they used gave... Because I think when you watched a lot of these videos and you talk to people and the general sentiment, I think a lot of people have this notion that it is a console-like device. And I think people are going into that with that in their mind. And I think a lot of people are going to have the stark realization of what you're saying is, no, this is going to be a computer.
But I think in their description, they even call it their console. They want it on the television. They want it on the television.
Yeah.
This isn't saying, hey, don't build your own, PC, get this instead of it. I don't think that that's the positioning that they're trying to do with this. They are stating that they want it in the television.
Yeah. And usually the TV is for consoles. So it's an interesting thing. But, chat, let me know, how do you feel about this $950/$1,070 leak that is happening? Do you think this is going to be the actual price, or do you think this is all smoke and it's going to be cheaper than that? Let me know in the chat as we move on. Next news story, the Xbox Developer Direct returns January 22nd with Fable, Forza Horizon 6, and Pokemon developer Game Freak with Beast of Reincarnation. This comes from GameStop and is written by Darren Bonthus. I might be butchering that last name, so sorry, but we'll quickly say Microsoft has confirmed that the next Developer Direct live stream will be broadcasted on January 22nd at 10 a.m. Pacific /1 p.m. Eastern. This is the fourth Developer Direct to date. And as with previous live streams, viewers can expect updates and new gameplay for several upcoming titles. This is the 25th anniversary of Xbox brand, and Microsoft has confirmed that Playground will be showing Fable and Forza Horizon 6. Pokemon developer Game Freak was going to reveal more info on Beast of Reincarnation. Also important to note, to look ahead of this year of Xbox, we also know that Halo Campaign Evolved is on the horizon, a fully remastered /remake in Unreal Engine 5 of Halo 1's campaign. along with one that my dad has been waiting for forever. Gears of War E-Day is also slated for this year as well. I'm not going to comment much on this, but I'll just pass it to you. What is your hype levels about the developer direct? Are you hoping for a fourth secret game, as there has been some leaks about a fourth secret title, and also with previous directs they've done secret titles? But I just want to pass off to you. What's your hype level? Are you excited to see these titles?
I am super excited for a couple of reasons. One, Fable. I'm a Fable fan. I've been waiting for it for quite some time, but I think Xbox has more up their sleeve because it is their 25th anniversary. This whole year is not going to be something that it's casual like every direct or every year that they're just going through the motions. They got to come out slamming with it, and I'm hoping. And I've read a couple things that they're talking about Fallout 3 remaster shadow dropping with it. And again, that deserves more than a shadow drop, but I like to dream that the rest of them.
Oblivion shadow dropped.
Yeah, true. I take that back then, because that may make me push Ghosty Yote to the side if they remastered that, because Fallout is in my top 3 series of all time, and I'm definitely waiting to play that remaster. I've purposefully have not gone back to play it because they were talking about it when you saw the leaks of the Xbox Microsoft papers, in court, and it said about the remake. Like, I've been pushing it off. So I'm hoping that they do that shadow drop. That would make my day, because again, it's the 25th anniversary of Xbox. So, and I bleed green. So
it's also the second season of Fallout is out, so it's perfect timing.
Correct.
For a Fallout game of any sorts to be out there. The only thing I'll say is I'm super excited to finally see Fable in gameplay. I love Fable. Yeah. Fable 1 and 2, amazing games. I want to see what Playground is cooking up as their first fantasy RPG, as they've mainly been making the Forza Horizon series. So curious to see that, but also Horizon 6 going to Japan. I know that game's going to look stunning. I can't wait to see what it looks like driving around the countryside of Japan and see all the little bit of details that they include even within the cities. I think Horizon 6 will definitely be a Game of the Year contender. It has been for the previous entries. People always put Horizon at such a high quality and tier of video game. So very excited to see what they have cooking up as well. Beast Reincarnation. I got no idea what this game's going to be. So very curious to see what Pokemon developer Game Freak does with a non-Pokemon game.
Yeah, I'm not a racing fan, but if it's on Game Pass because it's in Japan, I will definitely download it and just casual drive around the countryside. I think that would be cool.
Yeah. Well, Xbox Developer Direct returns January 22nd, and it's at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. I don't know if I'll be able to react to it live. You might be able to react to it live, so we'll just keep everyone in the loop and so on. Next thing, this is from Insider Gaming, authors Mike Straw. GTA 6 might not be content complete yet. 2026 release still feels solid. The article states that GTA 6 is one of the most anticipated games in the history of the industry. When it launches, it's expected to be one of the highest grossing games of all time. However, it might not be complete yet. In the latest episode of Button Mash, Bloomberg's Jason Schreier spoke about GTA 6 development and where things stand. According to Schreier, the game still might not be content complete. Schreier said, "The last I heard, it was still not content complete. That is to say, people were still finishing things up, still finalizing levels and missions, and seeing what is going to make it into the game." Schreier added that content complete usually comes after feature complete and before bug fixing. But even when it gets to the bug fixing stage, there are still things that people might want to try and get into the game. GTA 6 was originally scheduled for release in 2025. However, it was quickly pushed to May 2026 before being moved again to November 16th, 2026. As far as that release date goes, Schreier says that it's hard to say if the game will for sure hit the November release date. Quoted, "It's really hard to say right now, and I don't think anyone at Rockstar can tell you with 100% certainty that they will make it out in November, but people feel like this might be a little bit more solid." He also states that Rockstar can't settle for anything less than perfection with the release of GTA 6. With that in mind, the goal of releasing this fiscal year, they do have a bit of a buffer as Rockstar's fiscal year doesn't end until March 31st, 2027. So GTA 6, it's always the gaming's hottest news, hottest game to be coming out. Am I surprised by this news? No, I think it makes sense that this game isn't content complete yet because there was just another leak that came out about GTA 6 that Rockstar has confirmed is accurate, and they have let go of the developers who have leaked the game. But the leak went on to say that there's going to be up to like 400 plus interior buildings that you can enter, including gyms, shopping, sky bridges, etc. And there's a lot of attention to detail in GTA 6. This is going to be the biggest release that Rockstar has ever done, and they're pouring everything that they have into this game. So hearing that it's not content complete yet makes sense to me because they could be finalizing levels and finalizing some story bits and refining things. What do you think about this?
Well, let's be honest. A game of this magnitude, do you think that it will ever be complete? I think that they will be working on this game for the next 3-4 years to come to polish it out. But in those leaks, and again, you never know what leaks are true and what leaks are not true, but I thought this was an interesting feature that they're adding to it. But they said that, if you get hurt, if you get shot, if you jump off a building and break your leg, if you don't get attention to it, there's 2 ways to heal. You could do the quick heal with drugs, but then you're slower in the next fight, or you walk with a limp. But there is long term to how you damage yourself, which I think is just crazy. Like that to me is you talk about detail. So again, I only say that to say I don't know that this game will ever be 100%, that it gets down that they say, look, this is 100% finished. We're going to release it today. Like, I don't know that they can ever get to that point with something of this magnitude.
Well, I
Like,
mean, with the article saying that they can't shy away from anything less than perfection. At a certain point, because obviously these companies have stakeholders, you do have to place the stake in the sand and be like, this is it. We can't go any further than this. This is where we're laying our mark. But to your point, I would say for the campaign, yes, they will be content complete, but I think a lot of their ideas can also be transferred over to GTA Online because we know that's going to be inevitable. Like GTA Online's their biggest moneymaker ever. So whatever ideas are left on the edit floor and got cut from the campaign could always make it into online, because I think as much as I love like how GTA 4 did expansions for the story mode, I don't think we're ever going to traditionally see another expansion for a Grand Theft Auto game in the story mode sense, because all the expansions have been placed within GTA Online. Sure. Now, I think them saying that he's heard that the content complete and the game could whatever, like content complete, they could be content complete as of tomorrow or next week. We never know when. I think the thing from a technical standpoint that interests me the most is how they're going to tackle bug fixing at a game of this magnitude. And I think with all this, the one thing that I hope for is they don't kill their developers. Like obviously this is a very stressful game to work on. This is a very large game to work on. And I hope that these developers are at least able to have somewhat of a work-life balance, and they aren't being forced to do 60, 70 hours a week to finish this. So I hope that they're able to hit their goals while also making sure the team's health is intact. That being said, the one thing with Grand Theft Auto 6 is this game cannot pull a Cyberpunk. Obviously, Cyberpunk got fixed well over time and it became an incredible game. But I think if Rockstar dropped a Cyberpunk level event for this game, it would definitely hurt the reputation. I think it would also collapse a lot of things. Like it wouldn't be great. So I'm always of the belief, take as much time as you need. No matter when you release GTA 6, people will always be there. It's not like a game that they're going to lose the hype over. Like no matter what, everyone is going to show up from when that title drops. So take as much time as you need, make sure it is to your liking and so on. Yeah, it's very, I do, at the end of the day, I find it very interesting that they're saying this game's not content complete for, I think it's been in development for 6 years. So
the interesting thing of what I'm hearing you say is it has the potential to be delayed from November, somewhere between November to March
Yeah.
of 2027.
Yeah.
So that's crazy because the impact that it has of the other gaming. So with hearing that, other studios better be ready to drop something if they decide to move it, because that's a big hole.
I think reading this article and everything, I think it's going to be a safe bet that Grand Theft Auto comes out then. I think this follows the pattern that they have done the last couple releases with GTA 5, Red Dead 2. So I think it's a safe bet that we're going to see this game release. But you know, Rockstar is going to do what Rockstar is going to do. So at the end of the day, we're just going to have to wait and see how this all pans out. But you know, is your hype for this game through the roof, or is it still kind of?
Of course, no,
Yeah.
it's through the roof. I can't wait to play it. Again, there's 2 times this year I've already put my vacation time in for a day off. One is Gears. You know, the release of Gears, I take the day off, and then the release of GTA, I'll take the day off.
Yeah, I am very curious to see what's going to happen once the game releases and what it's going to look like and so on. But before we get to the rest of the news stories that we think you should know about, just want to take a quick word from our website.
Got games you don't play anymore? Turn that collection into cash at ActiveReloadGaming.com. It's fast, it's easy, and you get paid quick. Or if you are looking to buy, check us out on eBay or scroll through our Games by console. Find us at ActiveReloadGaming.com.
And we are back. The next news story that I think is actually quite a fun one, because I did not expect a game from 2015 to be potentially getting a new expansion. And I thought this game was done by 2017 with their expansions. And that game that I'm talking about is The Witcher 3. This article comes from Tom Phillips at IGN. The Witcher 3 expansion reports continue, now with discussion of a possible Dune-style location. Evidence of an under-wraps third expansion for The Witcher 3 continues to mount, with one report now pointing to a possible Dune-style location for the new adventure. Word of a fresh DLC for the beloved 2015 blockbuster RPG began bubbling up in earnest last month, fueled by a set of reports from insiders and apparent teasers by developer CD Projekt Red that it had something secret in the works. Now, a report by IGN Poland has said its local sources have been aware of potential plans for several years, and that initially, at least, its developers had expressed a keen interest in exploring Zerikania, an exotic desert region for the east of The Witcher 3's current map. While IGN Poland cautions that this information dates back several years, it also goes on to list a string of reasons why Zerikania makes a lot of sense for the expansion. Due to various hints at a Zerikanian manticore school in previous expansion Blood and Wine, and references to the region made by other characters. The same school is also part of The Witcher's tabletop RPG, as seen in the artwork above. Separately, a Eurogamer report has given a black and white reason why this expansion is likely real and expected to launch in 2026. Because there's currently a gap in CD Projekt Red's employee incentive program target, indicative of the company launching something expected to earn significant money. Zero Gamer notes, CD Projekt doesn't really have anything else expected to fit the bill, with The Witcher 4 not set for launch until 2027 at the earliest, and Cyberpunk 2 after that. Work on a new IP is also ongoing, but even further off. There's a possibility that this could relate to some other similar Witcher spinoff, but with all the smoke around the Witcher 3 expansion now rising, everything looks to be pointing in the same direction. A full production on The Witcher 4 continues. CD Projekt Red has cautioned fans not to expect its launch in 2026, as the company plans an ambitious 6-year roadmap in which it will also launch The Witcher 5 and The Witcher 6. Before all of that, there's a window this year for even more Witcher and a fresh slice of content that could potentially help bridge the gap. A new DLC feels like a smart idea to reawaken lapsed interest ahead of the series' next chapter via extra content sold to The Witcher 3's existing audience of more than 60 million players. I think this is such a fun news story because I do agree. I think this is quite a smart move to release a new expansion for The Witcher 3 in preparation for The Witcher 4. And there has been other articles and reports corroborating that, yes, this expansion does exist. It is going to be coming out within the summertime region, and it's going to act as the bridge between Witcher 3 and Witcher 4. And apparently it's going to be following more Ciri than it is Geralt, because as if you have played Witcher 3, Geralt's story does conclude at the end of that. The other thing I have been hearing is that this Witcher expansion isn't being primarily developed by CD Projekt Red. It is being co-developed by the studio who's making the Witcher 1 remake. Dad, you played Witcher 3 not too long ago for the very first time. How are you feeling about returning to the world of The Witcher with a new expansion, getting ready for The Witcher 4?
You know, when I read this article, I don't know how I felt with it because I've been so excited and stoked for Witcher 4. Like that's been the conversation. Witcher 4 kind of pushed it to the back. But I would have to say that it's Witcher. I'll play anything that they put out. So yes, if it's what you say it is, speculating that it's a bridge for Witcher 3 to Witcher 4, I would love to play that. If it's some found, stuff on the cutting room floor that they're just putting together for a money grab and putting it in, that it has no story, crowbarring in of anything, then I'll be a little upset.
Yeah, I think the thing, all the leaks and articles and insiders have all pointed to that this is a fresh story. This is 100% to gain hype for Witcher 4. And if this report states, we can see Witcher 4 at earliest 2027. I know that CD Projekt Red has been building the tech with Unreal Engine 5 to get Witcher 4 up and running. We have seen the tech demos at Unreal events. So Witcher 4 is in a much I think it's a lot further along than we had anticipated because they're already using a pre-existing engine. They're not prepping the Red Engine for Witcher. They're using Unreal and they're having support. I think this is such a smart move, and I have heard that this expansion will probably be on the levels of Blood and Wine or the other one. I forget what the name was, but so it's going to be a sizable thing. So people are estimating maybe between 10 to 20 hours of new Witcher 3 content. Cherry Tomato Boy in the chat says it makes sense. They need to get Zoomers into Witcher. Yeah, I fully agree. You need to get people back into the series. And that's the thing. The one part of this article that I really want to highlight that you didn't even react to. Witcher 3 has 60 million players. That is an insane number for a single player RPG. The Witcher 3 is still being played. I want to, I saw this statistic the other day. I want to pull this up. Do you know what the Steam concurrent player count for The Witcher 3 was this week?
This week?
Or let me tell you right now, how many people do you think are playing The Witcher 3 on Steam right now?
20,000.
15,455. In the last 24 hours, it almost hit 30,000 people.
Wow.
Which, to put in perspective, which I think is quite interesting.
Now, wait, while you're pulling that up, do you think that's due to this article?
I think people are always playing The Witcher, but a couple days ago, the Battlefield was having a concurrent play of about 30,000. Battlefield 6, a multiplayer title. I think, with always sales happening and everything and the Witcher television show, good or bad, I just think people have always heard amazing things about The Witcher 3. It is lauded as one of the greatest single-player RPGs of all time. I think it's a phenomenal RPG. It's so well written, and the gameplay is spectacular, and I just love that world. I think with that number of people as your install base for The Witcher, it makes sense. Bring back a DLC, get more people to get into the Witcher world, go buy the game, play through that main story, get to the expansion, and then you're ready for Witcher 4. Yeah, I am so excited if this is true, and it seems like this is really leaning in to be true. And potentially, if I were to make a prediction, we could probably see this at Summer Game Fest. I would not be surprised if Jeff Keighley threw this on his stage as like a holy shit moment, and Witcher coming back.
That would be great. And again, if it is a bridge between 3 and 4, I'm going to go through the roof with it, man. That's going to be outstanding.
Well, what's not outstanding is GameStop CEO could ring in a big payday, but with an even bigger caveat. This comes from Lon Pitts at GameSpot. GameStop announced this week that a proposed pay package worth approximately $35 billion for CEO Ryan Cohen was in the works. I just want to stop there. Why? Like GameStop, I don't. Let me continue. The compensation is tied entirely to the company's performance and depends on a major turnaround To earn it, Cohen must increase GameStop's market value by more than 10 times and significantly raise profits. Meeting these goals would require a big change for GameStop. Which has struggled in recent years. No kidding. Its stock price is also severely down from the record highs reached in 2021 when GameStop gained popularity among retail investors during the meme stock surge. Under the new plan, Cohen must help grow GameStop's market value to $100 billion and deliver $10 billion in cumulative performance, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, a common measure of operating profit. GameStop's current market value is about $9.26 billion. The company previously reached a peak market value of around $34 billion during the 2021 rally.
That's crazy. And I think I had sent you an article that they're closed down in January, 260 some stores across the country. But I was speaking in our local, Bombay knows this because he had put it on our Discord, that I was also over at our local GameStop that was closing down, and I got to know the people there very well, and they had said that it's going to be over 690 by the end of January, closed down, and that's a shame. But when you take a look at GameStop, I think they had the world by the butt when it comes to gaming. They had the market cornered, and once they pivoted away from retro games, like that killed them. And then we all know the story. They tried to do GameStop retro and tried to get back into but it was too late. If they would have continued on their path and never varied from not taking retro games, they'd be the biggest gaming company. There wouldn't be all these retro game stores out there because they would have owned everything. They had the most real estate, and they had, in every state and every corner there was a GameStop. So I think they kind of imploded themselves, and that would have went back how many years. But you and I were talking about it, Kobe. It was, some fond memory when you were younger, when this local one opened up.
Yeah, the local one opened up during the Modern Warfare 3 release year, and I remember that was my first pre-ordered title over there. I mean, even the GameStop I went to in the Redmond area in Washington that I stood in line at night for my Switch 2 already closed down. So, I think at the end of the day, go support your local mom and pop shops. Like, I think GameStop is a dying breed. It's no longer about the video game, which sucks. It's more ThingStop at this point, where I walk in, I just see things everywhere. Like, it's not about the game. And like when they did that whole like trade in anything day, and you were able to bring in a toaster and trade it into the store, it just lost its luster. I grew up as a GameStop kid. I was in there consistently. I was still going in there because they had new releases. But even with the new releases, like if you didn't it was hard to buy a new game. Like even Assassin's Creed Shadows, you go in, like you had to like pretty much like argue with the person like why you needed and wanted Assassin's Creed Shadows. So go support your local game stores if you are in the physical buying space.
That again goes to show, and we've had Dan on here from Planet Retro, and you go to yours out there. Like I've gone to Planet Retro more than I've been to a GameStop in the last 10 years. I've been more at Planet Retro. So again, it's here's a novel idea, make your business, something that the consumer wants. There's a novel idea,
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a shame. It's an end of an era. But again, I believe that, and I think the biggest thing that hits me is you talked about, you were out in Redmond. I had a bit of nostalgia hit me when I stood in line for the midnight release of the Switch 2. And I haven't done that since you and I were back in the Best Buy days, waiting for Xbox 360s to come out. I am going to miss that because there's no more. That's dead now. Since they're gone, there's no way I'll be standing at a midnight release for anything.
Yeah, it's a shame. But you know, hearing GameStop is dying is like hearing E3 is dying. I'll hear about this 20 more times throughout the year before the grave
Correct.
actually happens. So, I'll talk to you about this in a couple months. We'll be back to this. But yeah, them doing this payout for the company's performance, I think is quite ironic.
Well, their
But
performance, their bottom line performance goes up when they cut all this real estate rental that they have.
yeah, I think GameStop's just going to end up becoming just a primarily online retailer, and then we'll see how it competes against Amazon. But we'll
Yeah,
see.
I agree.
All right, the next news story is a bit of a sad one, so strap in. Ubisoft shuts down Assassin's Creed Rebellion developer Halifax Studios just weeks after it unionized. This is from IGN by Rebecca Valentine. Ubisoft has shut down its Halifax studio just weeks after 61 of its 71 workers voted to unionize. The publisher shared this news in a statement to IGN today, confirming that 71 positions have been impacted and claiming this move was part of its wider 2-year effort company-wide to streamline operations, improve efficiency, and reduce costs. We are committed to supporting all impacted team members during this transition with resources including comprehensive severance packages and additional career assistance. This comes 3 weeks after 61 of Ubisoft Halifax's employees voted to unionize with the Game and Media Workers Guild of Canada, which is itself part of CWA, Communications Workers of America and Canada. The union was officially certified 6 months after employees announced their intentions to unionize, and after 74% of eligible employees consisting of producers, programmers, designers, artists, researchers, and testing voted in favor. It marked the first Ubisoft union in North America. Ubisoft has claimed that the closure of Ubisoft's Halifax is unrelated to the union and is instead a part of its larger restructuring and cost-saving efforts, as well as declining revenues from Assassin's Creed Rebellion, which will also be winding down operations as part of this decision. The publisher has been undergoing significant cuts, laying off employees in batches over the last few years, shutting down studios, and canceling multiple projects amid a series of disappointing releases and falling revenues. Last year, Ubisoft turned outside the company for assistance, creating a new business entity to manage Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six with a 25% stake from Tencent. IGN reached out to Ubisoft Workers of Canada, Halifax, and CWA for comment and received the following. We're devastated that this is happening, especially so soon after we unionized. We're looking into all avenues to fight for the rights of our members. Ubisoft Halifax began as a branch of Longtail Studios, which was founded in New York City in 2003 by Ubisoft co-founder, with branches in Quebec and Halifax being added in later years. It was best known for its work on the Rocksmith series, as well as various early mobile and Nintendo DS games. In 2015, Ubisoft acquired Longtail and renamed it Ubisoft Halifax, putting it to work on mobile games such as Assassin's Creed Rebellion and Rainbow Six Mobile. This sucks. I mean, there's not much more to really say about it. The games industry continues to go through a lot of pain, especially with the mistreatment of a lot of their workers and the people who put the games in front of us. This definitely hits harder with me as someone in the industry. I hate seeing, fellow people lose their livelihood overnight. And, when they made such great strides to unionize and have protections, because if you're not living under a rock, you see what is happening in the games industry with these studios and people consistently being laid off, and these artists being treated unfairly. I do think these protective measures are needed. And I know Ubisoft says it's unrelated, but it is very fishy that this happens so shortly after that this happens. But it sucks, we're going to continue seeing layoffs, unfortunately. And I just hope that all the people impacted are able to get on their feet and that the union is able to help them. And I hope that they continue to do good work and that they're able to reignite their passion and artistry somewhere else within the industry.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. Like when you have something looming like AI, that the company is chomping at the bit to get rid of an employee to plug in the AI so that they can make a better bottom line. It's tough that they say that it was unrelated, but again, I've run companies, I've had companies, It's just an excuse. They were waiting for the proper excuse to get rid of them. And just as a shameless plug here, like our normal podcast on Monday, we're going to really delve into the AI and how it affects everybody, include personal life and gaming life. And I don't want to go too into that right now because I think that's a must tune in to see on Monday about how AI is going to impact you as a gamer, you as your personal life, and so forth. But nobody can tell me any different, Kobe. They did it because they saw it was an opportunity to say, "Hey, I'm going to get rid of you, so I can get AI in there."
And it's not even like that. As also that, I think that's probably a lot of the reason, and also I think a lot of these companies are threatened by unions. I'm going to use not gaming, but Starbucks in Seattle closed down some of the biggest money makers ever. Like all of a sudden, like, oh, it wasn't that popular, but for those in the Seattle area, know that the Starbucks Reserve was one of the best places, and also like brought in a lot of tourism and money because there's only like 7 or 8 of these stores in the world, and now they got rid of 2 of them after the workers union. So it's like we're in bleak times.
It was the same way with Jeff Bezos with some Amazon warehouses where they unionized and he got rid of them and replaced them with robotics. So again, I just think from big business, it's an excuse because they're just chomping at the bit to have an excuse to replace them.
Yeah.
So it's sad that in today's world you got to walk on eggshells, knowing that one wrong step and you're replaced by AI.
Yeah, it's a shame. Thinking of AI, a lot of CES this year was AI, and this is an article you linked to me, and we talked about it briefly because this is some gooning, some gooner stuff coming up here. But Razer goes full AI with a dual POV camera gaming headset and a 6-inch screen watching hologram. This is by Will Judd from IGN. Razer has joined many other companies in focusing its CES 2026 announcements around AI features, with both hardware and software gaming AI upgrades in the new year. The most fascinating is a classic Razer CES prototype, an AI-equipped gaming headset called Project Motoko. But there is also a deployable AI companion that is meant to live on your desk called Project Ava. Razer also announced some thankfully AI-free products at the show, including the Wolverine V3 Bluetooth, a controller that is calling the world's fastest wireless gaming controller, and a pair of gaming chairs. I want to start with Project Ava because I think this is like borderline gooner stuff.
Correct.
So Project Ava, if you prefer a more stationary AI assistant, Project Ava is designed to be a personable companion that lives in a small cylinder with a 5.5-inch animated hologram on the front that displays the AI as one of several selectable avatars. Ava can once again see and hear you using a camera and far-field microphone. Remember your preferences, see your screen via its USB connection, and generally take you closer to the HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey, future we're all looking forward to. And the reason why I say this is gooner is because the AI companions that people have been uploading into this thing are well-endowed anime characters talking to you. And it's like, we all know, and it has like that very high-pitched voice. And it's like, okay, I know what you're doing here. I know what you're using this for. So I thought that one, it's just, it's bizarre. Razer doing bizarre stuff. But the Project Motoko is a reasonable concept from the article. Essentially, it's coupling a Razer gaming headset with the Snapdragon-powered AI. A camera is built into each ear cup of the headset so it can see what you see, and you ask it questions like, how do I beat this boss in Dark Souls? Or what should I build next in a League of Legends game? I think if you asked the headphones what you should do in a League of Legends game, I think the headphones should just self-destruct on your head. Razer's marketing video also shows plenty of non-gaming scenarios, like asking the headset to summarize pages from a book, suggest a recipe from a group of assembled ingredients, or produce a 30-minute workout on the back lawn. Which, if I saw some dude come into the gym with a Razer headset on, he's like, Hey, yo, what am I think I'm just going to lose my mind, but I digress. The headset also identifies an approaching person and reminds the wearer of their recent promotion, which would require a much tighter level of integration with your personal data to work. Each of these interactions feel less convincing than the gaming use cases, but this is clearly more of a statement of intent. But Razer assures us that this will be a real product sometimes this year.
Here's my thing with it. Now, I'm talking about the headset. And I'm going to take you off on a path where I think this is brilliant. Is the talk of the new Xbox and everything else building in, the AI, everybody talked about that it's going to be in there, whether it's built in with Copilot or whatever they're going to do. And they talked about how it can help you when you're stuck, bring up videos, do whatever, give suggestions. Razer, I think, has seen that and said, well, not everybody's going to jump into that future and get the newer Xbox or get that AI. Putting this and getting it into that, what happens to the retro gamers that want that AI infused gaming, experience? That's where this comes in. So you are taking the new future of AI for gaming and equipping it into old, and I'm not even saying retro like going back to NES. I'm even saying taking it back to a PlayStation 4, but taking it back to an Xbox One, that you can actually make it AI. I think that there's a niche for this. I really do.
It's interesting. I see where you're coming from. And I think from a gaming perspective, you're right. We are getting into the area where a lot of AI is going to be placed in these pieces of hardware to kind of help you with your game. And I think it's an interesting concept, especially from the retro gaming talking point. I hadn't really thought about that avenue because obviously a lot of these old devices don't have it. And I don't even know if any of the newer like emulated devices like the Analog 3D will even have this kind of capability placed in it. I think the other stuff that they're talking about is kind of ridiculous. In the movie realm, what's the point that we're just going to get to the Wall-E where all the people are up in space and we're all just like, we're lazy and everything, the AI is doing everything for us.
No spoilers. I didn't see Wall-E yet.
It's from 2009. But yeah, we'll go watch Wall-E. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. It's such an interesting concept to see a headset that has a dual POV camera installed into the ear cups be able to kind of analyze the game and see where you're at and how you can kind of combat that area. I don't know. Do you see yourself buying this product is my question.
I would have to see the reviews on it because I'm going to take it again back to the retro. Like there's so many devices out there that take your retro game that was a composite connection and putting it into a converter that converts it to HDMI and gives you the newer screen experience. And again, don't jump on me for the retro people. I know pure going back to the CRTs and so forth, but there's always been some type of component that's taking the old gaming that gives it the new feel. That's where I think this is going to thrive. Is again just putting AI in the older games.
I do think that's an interesting point, and I think I want to see this in action. Obviously, like when they have it in controlled environments, it's going to work to the best of its ability. I want to see this in an actual practical use case, and I want to see those weird edge cases that you were discussing, which is what happens if I just go back to like Ghouls and Goblins, a notoriously hard game, or Contra. Like how is this AI going to tell me how to progress through the game? Because like a lot of the older retro games are pretty straightforward. It is an A to B and it's just skill set. Whereas like newer titles that are open world and are more puzzle based, like it can obviously guide. So I want to see how it's going to work with really old games, then a few generation ago games and games of today.
But I said that though, it doesn't always have to go back to the NES. Even if you're making a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One title AI driven. So if it doesn't work and you're hung up that it says, how can it make a Contra? But you could still use it for the people, because there's still people out there that are never bought a PS5 or still using PS4 and still using Xbox One. That's where I'm kind of going. It may not work or have to go back to the NES. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. I do encourage everyone to go look at CES announcements. A whole bunch of monitors got announced, a lot of Razer stuff, but a lot of it
monitors.
Yeah, a lot of them are cool. Some 3D monitors. I didn't think 3D tech would be coming back like this, but hey, maybe Avatar and James Cameron is like, maybe James Cameron's just going to every damn manufacturer, be like, you need to watch Avatar in the correct way, and just making them have it. He's got that power. But yeah, I don't know. Go check out a lot of the CES announcements. I think a lot of it's interesting, but so much of it is AI infused. So wherever you fall on that spectrum, to here, once again, it's here. So you're going to be seeing a lot of it. All right, we are winding down. 2 more pieces of news to go about. This one's just going to be a quick one that I think is kind of fun because we talked about it very briefly, but this is from Wesley Yinpool on IGN. The Arc Raiders devs confirm it recently added aggression-based matchmaking, but it's not a full science. Embark Studios has confirmed one of the community's biggest questions since the game came out. It does indeed feature aggression-based matchmaking. This means if you're big into PvP, you'll be matched up with players who are like-minded. Similarly, if you prefer PvE, you'll be matched made with players who tend to avoid conflict with other players. Arc Raiders players versus environment versus player gameplay has resulted in a number of viral clips showing how friendly encounters can quickly devolve into a fight to the last. You can play solo or in parties up to 3, working as a team to progress through the game. However, other players are a constant threat. This has sparked debate within the community about the etiquette, and that has formed in game, with a retired pro gamer going viral for relentlessly killing casual Arc Raiders players. Turns out, Arc Raiders will lean on your playstyle when it comes to matchmaking. This aggression-based matchmaking, however, is not an exact science. Patrick Sutherland, CEO of Embark Studios, told GamesBeat in a recent interview. Obviously, first, it's skill-based, of course, Sutherland said, of Arc Raiders matchmaking. Then you have solo, duos, and trios. And then we also, since a week ago or so, introduced a system where we also matchmake it based on how prone you are to PvP or PvE. So if your preference is to do PvE and you have less conflict with players, you'll get more matched up with similar players. Obviously, this is not a full science. The term aggression-based matchmaking is exactly the system Arc Raiders currently uses. That puts to bed high-level questions about how Arc Raiders matchmaking works for the community, which had wondered about it in recent months. How do you feel about this?
Well, I wonder, like, if you're uber toxic, obviously they're going to match you with uber toxic. And I wonder if you can manipulate that. If I'm uber toxic and they put me in and all of a sudden I start to play passive for the next 2 days, I wonder if it'll manipulate.
So I have had friends test this, that they were super aggressive and then they went in and like did not even pull a gun and just kind of let themselves get killed. And after like a number of matches, they started getting in way friendlier lobbies where people just did not want to shoot one another. Like, hey, let's just go loot, let's just go fight the Arc and so on. I think when it's a game like Arc Raiders, you know, there's always a debate within the community, which is when people say we shouldn't be killing each other, we're like, it's a PvP game and so on. And obviously, like, there's different levels of people and sweatiness and what they go for. And Arc Raiders is a game that has tried to gain the attention of also the casual player, and it has made large waves. Arc Raiders is the one of the most popular multiplayer games from last year, and it continues to make milestones within the player count. I think this is a brilliant idea. I think it helps keep people within your player base. I think it helps keep matches fresh. And for someone, not to call you out, but like you, who doesn't want to get into PvP modes and would rather just focus on the actual AI enemies and the thrill of looting and finding high tier loot, you can totally play that style, and the game tries to match you in that. Now, is it perfect? A science? I don't know. But I think it's a great idea. I think this is definitely an evolution of skill-based matchmaking because it adds another layer for games like this. And I think it's cool.
I really like that, and I hope they start implementing that into other games. And again, everybody that knows me, I'm a massive Gears fan. I can't even get in to play Gears Online anymore. Like the multiplayer, it's just so sweaty. And these guys, I run, I get dead. I get shot, I'm dead. I run, I get shot, I get dead. There's no enjoyment for me where I want to enjoy it. So I like that because I was a big Rust player too. And until
I
I
was just about
found
to say Rust, like they at least have like different servers where they lock off
servers,
PvP or only have PvP zones if you truly care. Like in Arc Raiders, you can't do that, but this is a viable solution, which I think is good for players
because
of
I
all
used
types.
to love, I played Rust for a couple of years solid, and I used to like going to certain servers that they would have zones that were PvE, and then when you would go out, you would be PvP. So I didn't mind that because I liked to play the game in the PvE zone of building and manufacturing my stuff. And then I would go out, but I'd go out with stuff that I wasn't afraid to lose and things of that nature. So I didn't play Arc yet because of that. Like I just have this fear of losing my loot, and I'm old and my heart will tick because Kobe and I were just talking about next week probably getting on our third channel of streaming some games. And he's like, why don't you get on and play Arc? And I'm like, you just want to make me look like a fool is what you want to do.
Yeah, but if you're not aggressive, you won't be with aggressive people. So yeah,
But again, and then I'll just without you know dwelling on this, how does that? And I always thought about this. How does that always work if you and I went in together? Like I'm super passive, you're uber toxic. How does it match if we're together?
It definitely it comes down to a mathematical formula, and I think it's going to read within the mathematical formula. It pulls different conditions, and it's going to start ranking the conditions. So it's going to look at your skill first, then it's going to look at the type of mode you're playing. So let's just say you're a solo player and you have a certain skill attached to that solo mode. Aggression aside, those two values are computed through I think it's a Gaussian algorithm, which outputs a number and then it assigns you to people of similar number, and that's how it does it. Now, let me make sure.
But can we go in as a group? You could do a group, and you and I go in as a group, as a team.
Well, yeah. So what I'm saying is through the Gaussian distribution that these
is it averaging us?
Yeah, it's going to average. So, but I think within this and the bell-shaped curve, it might align on a whole bunch of different factors that they might look at this graph and say people who say, let's just throw a number of like 0.75 people within the duo area might be more friendly, whereas 0.82 people might be more aggressive. It's a mathematical formula. It's all averaging through a Gaussian distribution. So that's how it works on the back end. It's all math. Like it is a probability and a statistical analysis, and it's never going to be 100% right, but it's a way to kind of pair people together. So last news story. This is a quick one. This is a fun one for people who own a Nintendo Switch 2. Nintendo reveals new Switch Joy-Cons colors, light purple and light green. This is from Tom Phillips. They unveiled their first set of alternative Switch 2 Joy-Con colors, which feature cool pastel shades resembling violet and teal. It's $100 like the other Joy-Con 2s, so it's not going to be any more expensive than they already are. That being said, I am a bit disappointed with how these look. With the OG Switch Joy-Cons, the entire Joy-Con was colored. This one still has the main black coloring, but it's just the insides and the rims of the joysticks where they sit are the only things that are different colors. So I'm very disappointed with this release of new colors. I was hoping that the entire Joy-Con would have a different color scheme.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I sent this to you, because I felt the same way. And just to let you know, when it's clipped into the screen,
yeah, you can't see the inside.
You won't be able to really tell unless you really stared at, like you said, around the thumbsticks. And I was thoroughly disappointed. That's why I sent it over to you. One, Nintendo's got to be working a little bit more on their titles than they are their Joy-Cons. But two, like, come on, paint the Joy-Cons. Let us customize the screen a little bit more than just the generic black through it. So I was a little disappointed in it as well. Like, I don't know. Maybe, and I take that back. Maybe more people are using those Joy-Cons as the mouse feature than I know. I haven't even tried it and used it yet, but
Yeah.
maybe that's why they figured, you know what, it's, looking at the statistics, there's a lot of people using it as the mouse feature, and that's why they had that it was in the inside. But I'm with you. Like, give some flair, man. Make the whole Joy-Con something different.
I agree. But that is the weekly gaming news that we think you should know about. This was very fun. I hope this went well for each and every one of you. Please send us feedback within our Discord. Up in the top right corner, you can join our Discord. Send us feedback about the new show. How was the pacing? How did it go? We wanted to get visuals today, but there's something wrong with the overlay that we need to go fix. But we do plan on having visuals, and I hope you all enjoyed this second podcast and just kind of going over what's happening in the industry. We find it very important, and so on. So, yeah, once again, you can follow us on all of our socials. I will pull this up right here on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, Spotify. That's such a mouthful. I'm surprised I don't trip over myself 90% of the time. We're at Active Reload Gaming. Twitch and Twitter or X, we're at ActiveRel. That's with an REL, ActiveRel Gaming. We are going to be back Monday with the normal father and son gaming podcast, doing a deep dive into AI, what it is. I think a lot of people still feel like AI is magic. I feel like some people just don't understand, and it's here, it's going to stay. And I want to talk about the tech behind it, very high level stuff, and kind of go into how it's going to impact you as a consumer, as a gamer, and so on. So I think it's going to be a good conversation to have. Dad, it was a pleasure doing this today. I hope you had fun as well.
Yep. I just, again, want to mention to everybody the way we're trying to structure this is we have 3 channels now. We do our normal fun gaming podcast on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Pacific. Sporadically throughout the week, as some of you had jumped on, which I appreciate, you'll see our streaming, which is our second channel, or would be our third channel. And then again, we're going to try to do this every other Friday, and hopefully we'll make it every Friday, which is our second channel, which was the gaming news. So that's the way we're trying to differentiate between everything. And, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and we'll keep doing it. And if we get enough feedback, we will do this every Friday, which I would enjoy.
Yep. And with that, I hope each and every one of you have a great weekend, and we will see you all on Monday. Have a great one, all.